Hello my dear friends, this is a PaintyKat. My name is Catherine. Welcome on my tutorial. We're gonna paint a rose today. Canvas size, it's 20 centimeters each side, and we're starting from underpainting, first layer. So we have to think about future colors. You can see now I'm using my fingers to create a first layer because it's giving softer surface that we have when we're working with brushes. For rose, for flowers, it's really helping and it's just fun, you know. Next color, first I used red, vermilion red. Pick up those red that you like to use to create the flower. It can be vermilion, can be Mother Lake red, really depends from your own taste. Green, as a green, I choose today green medium, and again you can choose any green you like or you have. It can be same as I have now. It can be emerald. Again, it's all up to you about colors. Next, I will help to me now with a brush. It's a flat slanted brush, and look, this is interesting moment. Now we mixing red and a green together. I'm mixing it and it's giving black. It's this color that we have from the combination of red and green looking as a black. That's okay, that's we need, but we have to remember about it. If you will remember color circle, it's opposite colors, and when they meet each other in a center of color circle, its mix of it became a black. Don't miss any canvas area. Rub colors really well into the canvas. Okay, let's plan maybe some future leaves. Today we're gonna use a method bottom-up approach. If I'm correct in English, that's mean we're gonna move from the general elements, from the big elements to the detailed result, step by step. So we will not create detail by detail. We will move from the very big petals elements, and we will detail it more and more and more in the whole area of the canvas, same time, almost same time. So in the end we will create, I believe we will create really beautiful rose. Okay, let's also plan shape of a rose. It's a really big flower here, and you can see now it's just petals that have pointy ends. This is my favorite type of roses with the pointy petals, and that's why I choose this kind of rose. And about background I'm planning as a black. First of all, I think a flower will look really contrasted and realistic with a black background around it. And also I like idea with a black background because red and a green will give us black in a mixed areas. So let's complete underpainting layer, and now look on my palette. I'm using not just a black, it's a mix of black and green, just a little bit of green, mostly it's still black, but background will look not so flat and one colored. Just pick a little tiny amount of green and drop colors really well into a canvas We don't want to see any white dots in the end, so please be accurate right now. Use a really nice amount of acrylic. So don't think about any details right now, not about shape of leaves or petals, but don't cover green areas completely, let it be. Those really beautiful green light colors, let it be. Don't cover it with black. Something like this. And here I have to cover the last corner here. I'm really rubbing in this acrylic. Now I changed brush. It's a watercolor shape, round brush with a pointy end, and we're going on a circle. We're starting from the center of the rose, it's just a dot, and let's go around. I will go around on the left side, and let's create center of the flower. Here, petals usually really tied to each other. So basically we're just planning black lines. Some lines can be connected together, some lines can be separate. And important, if you're creating a line, it's have to start with a thin area, then it's thicker in the middle, and it's thin again in the end, and it's going circle and a circle. Right now we're creating deepest shadows inside of the rose, and we're planning shapes of the petals. Yes, that's true. Don't be scared about mistakes. It will be possible to fix, it will be possible to correct shape of petals later, because today we will use lots of white also. It will help us to correct. Red colors usually have low coverage amount, it's transparent colors, but white helping us with it. Issue only with a color of a flower. Today I want to create really red rose, not a pink one. When we're mixing red and white together, it's usually pink, of course. And most of the time, if we're using lots of white, in the end we will get pink rose. How to avoid this moment, how to create a really red one? Area where we have really sharp edge between light and shadow, this is the edge of each petal. And when shadows going softer, it's an area inside one petal. Petals in the center, you can see now they looking more tight. There are much more lines. That means we have lots of petals inside. But petals that going around and the petals far from the center, they are more opened. And you can see shadows here looking much softer. We haven't here so deep shadows. Something like this. Don't be scared if you right now, some of your petals, you think they need to be corrected. We will do it on the next step. Right now we painting just with black and red. And also remember about light direction. Light we have from the left up corner. So on the right side, on the right bottom corner, we will have deepest shadows. Now it's kind of visible from my work. Also, we can add right now really tiny lines. We can connect some of dark lines and we can create, you know, areas that already looking kind as petals. And right now I will switch to the next brush. I really like the shape. This is brush from my local art store. It's calling Art Quartal. It's just a local trademark. I'm absolutely sure it's possible to find the same brushes, and I will look for it on Amazon for you, for links for same brushes. Main idea, we need brush with a really sharp edge. And this brush I like, also it's affordable price, and if I'm looking a brush to get right now, I can't wait, I have no time, so this is a choice for me. And also always recommend to you, if you have any local stores, just to be curious what new shapes of brushes they have. Try them. Probably you'll once you'll find just a perfect brush or shape just for your hands. As for me, I like this shape, and the next on the next step, it's possible to correct shape of our petals. And yes, we have to mix white. I'm using today titanium white, and you can see right now color already. I'm mixing it with vermilion red and red. Now looking as a pink with a very it's a very dusty shade, I'd say, because black also mixing in it. On the next step, we will dry our painting, but now I want to correct just a main petals here. See, it's possible to correct some of petal edges. Very easy, because white giving us coverage. Look, I'm just going with one big stroke, and I'm trying to create brush stroke those way that the sharpest pointy edge of a brush following the edge of the petal. Where I need it, I can blend a little bit, but in generally don't think about blending right now a lot. We will do it again, we will do it later. And also about main direction of brush strokes. In the center we have less blending. We almost have no blend between dark lines and light lines, because petals here really tight. We only can see the very edge of each petal, so there is no any blending areas. Blending we will do on the petals around opened petals, so just, you know, have patience. We will do both ways, with blending, without blending. Okay, let me just, you know, correct a little bit here. I want to create more visible petals for you. And now look, colors blending together really well because layer of underpainting still not dry completely. If we wanna dry a layer of acrylic, we have to use hot air or we have to wait. Today as a medium I'm using just water, no any special retarders, nothing like this. And maybe let's create a petal here. You can use as much white as you like right now. Later we will cover it with a half transparent red, so the complete look we will get really red rose. It's not possible to create red rose without this underlayer with white. I like more detailed look for flowers in the center of composition, and I like to create more, let's say, freedom look, like more artistry looking brush strokes as I'm going more far from the center. So in the center of the rose you can see detailed brush strokes created with a pointy tip of the brush, but when I'm going around I'm painting bigger, more opened petals. I'm going with a really wide brush strokes. Also I like transition from the sharp line to the wide brush stroke. So this brush giving me this ability, I can start painting with very edge. After I can turn my brush a little bit and I can switch to another side of the brush, and that's why I actually like this shape. Edge of the brush can be sharper or it can be more wide also, and brush stroke will depends from it, but in general I really recommend flat slanted brush for this stage. Next I will take the smallest brush. Its number can be number 1 or 0, and we're blending a little bit, we're creating tiny detail. We can fix some lines, and on this stage, on this step also I recommend to you make 1 or 2 steps back, as I'm usually recommending, right? Because from the distance for us it's more easy to understand general look of the painting. When we creating some details, we usually looking on our work from the 30 centimeters, 30-40 centimeters distance from the eyes to the working surface. It's really very close. It's not possible to understand how painting looking right now from this distance. So it's really helping to improve your skills when you're starting to check different stages from the distance, and also it's helping to keep our eyes fresh. I mean our perception. We're getting tired with time, and also we're getting tired when we looking on details kind of close. You can have the same when you're reading, for example, and it's nice when you have text and when you have pictures in a book. So you can read something and then you can rest a bit. Your eyes can rest a bit on pictures, and after you can understand, you can see signs just better, you know. Same when you're painting. Switch from the small details and short distance, switch to the long distance and try to analyze if direction where you're moving your painting really right, you really like it. As you can see right now, I made this process faster with a hairdryer, and the next step we have to cover all light with a really thin amount of clear, this is important, just a clear red. I'm using vermilion, and this is a really transparent paint, so I also added a little bit of water, and I'm glazing right now, trying to cover mostly white areas. And you can see dark areas, black areas still visible, half red, I mean it's looking like a brown now, or shaded red, still visible for us as well. But all white areas now looking as a very, very bright, very beautiful, vibrant red. Next step, as I told you from the start, we painting bottom up approach, and we trying to make lines we like more visible, more contrasted as you want, and lines we don't like you know, some lines not following petals really, I will skip them. I will make them less visible. With each layer, our rose, it's gonna look like it's go out from the shadows, from the nowhere to the light. And look, not all my moves I'm making on a canvas. Some of them, it's looking like I'm trying to paint on the air. But in this time, I'm estimate my move. I'm trying to understand if it's following the line of future petals. And if I like it, I believe I will like it only after I will really touch canvas with the brush. Now also nice to use mix of red and a black. Color will look as a brown in a mix because vermilion red have warm undertone. If you using another shade of red, for example Madder Lake red, you will have another color of the mix black and a red, also will look beautiful. Today we painting with just 4 basic colors. It's a black and a white as usual. Almost all paintings need it. And 2 more, it's a green. I'm using green medium, and it's a red. I'm using vermilion red. So even with this basic number of colors, possible to create a really pretty flower. And here also we're working with a very basic level of color mixing, again because it's not that much colors we need to, and also absolutely I'd say any starting kit of acrylic will have these colors. It's so important. You don't need, you just can order any basic kit of 5 or 10 colors, and you don't have to go somewhere and pick some additional colors that, you know, some paintings require. This is very simple one. And this method, when we going from the general, from the common look to the more detailed look, it's also a very basic method for any painting, and I like it much more than a method when we working from the area to area, and on each one we creating complete detailed view. It also can be, but at art school we never did that. We always used bottom-up approach, and I think if you're trying to learn how to paint, it's more important to follow this idea in your paintings. And also, just don't forget, step back and check your painting time by time, how it's going, if direction you really like to. This advice I had from my teacher, and all years that I was a student, she never getting tired to repeat to us, please stand up, step back, and take a look if you're going the right direction with your painting. For this method, bottom-up approach, this is extremely important. Now you can see I can already paint smaller lines. I'm painting with a smaller brush right now. It's number 1. Some of big areas that I was looking before as really big petals, possible to divide with just black lines, possible to divide for smaller petals. But don't do it everywhere, like all around. Just choose one segment and divide petals there. For example, I did it on a bottom area of the rose, but on all other areas, all white petals will stay the same. This way, rose will look more natural and petals will look more random. Here we have deepest shadow from the petals, because light we have from the top left corner. Also remember, in my left hand, probably you can't see it on my video, but there I always holding napkin, and if I need to, I can clean my brush with water, and after I can dry my brush with napkin. Some petals now looking like half visible, and I'm just making lines more visible with black color. Here we will see almost no petals because it's this area deep in a shadow. Let's create petals here. See, now I'm not painting at all. I'm just planning how brush stroke can go. And if I like, in my imagination right now, if I like this result, those that I can see in my mind right now, only in this moment I'm painting on a canvas. I think I like this layer of shadows on a rose. I like shape, and we have to dry it again. Okay, rose dried. Let's create white layer on top. We have to correct some petals because I added new petals, new edges, and I need to give them more sharpness. I will paint with light pink or with clear white. Today I'm mostly starting from the center. So let's do the same. Let's go the same. And I'm covering dark areas that I don't like from the previous steps. And also on this step, it is blending. For blending, petals already here. We already create them. We just have to correct them a little bit. Some of areas, nice to give them more smooth look, for example, right? Some of edges need to be more sharp. So this is time for blending, and for blending I like to use second brush. And about shape, for flowers I like to blend with a flat oval brush. Size have to be not too big, because details here really small. With sharp edge, this petal looking much more realistic. And it's possible to blend, this is a wrong brush, this is a right shape, really helping. I'm blending not on the whole area, blending just a little bit somewhere in the center. Let's go round. Here we almost have no blending, because here we can see just a top edge of the petals. This one I wanted to correct a little bit. I want to create it shorter, and I can do it really easy because this mix have lots of white, so our color have nice coverage. Possible to just make line shorter, and I will blend a little bit with clear vermilion red. Let me correct more. And I will also blend a little bit on the center of petal here. Now we can use as much white as we want. Later we will glaze with a clear vermilion red again. Let's go on the next petal. I will go just on a very edge, and when you're blending, you can go only on the inner area of the petal. Please don't blend edge out of the petal. This way you will lose sharpness of each petals, and in the end you can lose the shape of the flower. So we're blending only inside, but we're not going out of the petal with the blending. So basically this is how the process going, and the amount of layers, it really depends from the result you have. Sometimes for me, it can be about 2 or 3 layers of black and white and glazing in the end. Sometimes it can be 1 or 2 layers, especially when size of painting smaller. Today we have kind of big rows, so I like this size, by the way, because bigger size, more detailing, right? Smaller size, less detailing, but painting going faster. So when you want to create this painting as a gift, for example, as a gifting card, choose size smart. If you're really short on time, right? Pick up 15 centimeters, or pick up 10 square canvas on a board. Also, this painting possible to do on a paper. Just be sure it's really nice quality, and it's possible to paint with acrylic on it. Acrylic, when it's getting dry, layers more thin when it's dry, so we can create a really lots of layers if we need to. And in my opinion, acrylic just a perfect choice if you're learning how to paint, because techniques absolutely the same as we have with oil. For example, it's layering, underpainting, it's glazing, blending, everything that we need for oil we also have to learn with acrylic, but this paint really more easy to work with, because drying process faster and we have no smell. Usually if you need to create liquid consistency of oil, you have to use some liquids that really smelling bad. As for me, I adore oil, yes, but I have kids and I have a family, so not always possible to use oil in my room, in my painting room. And acrylic have no smell, very easy and fast to paint with it. And let's see what I have right now. I'm going all around my rose, and I told you I like to change the look of the petals outside of the center. Here, petals looking less detailed, and the brush strokes here wider. Also here on the bigger petals, I'm using blending less than on the petals in the center. Some of petals I really can like to leave not completed. It can look not completed, like I forgot to create complete shape, you know. And that's how we usually can see roses and flowers in nature. We're concentrating our view concentrated in the center of the flowers, and all leaves and the petals around center we usually can see unfocused. So we don't have to create really detailed look everywhere, only in the center of your composition. Still here are lots of white, but don't worry, I know now rose looking kinda not red, not juicy red. I will glaze a bit later, and in the end we will have almost no white on the petals. I wanna create this petal a bit wider, still have white in the mix, so it's not a problem to correct shape. See, I can cover black easily. That's only because I have white in the mix right now. Clear red, way too transparent for it. And let's blend a little bit of black here. And shadow will look deeper here under the petal. We'll mix a bit of... by the way, check how I'm mixing colors. Usually I'm adding small portions from the tube on my palette, and I'm mixing not the whole portion together with a different color, for example here with the black and red. They close to each other, and when I need to blend a new color, I'm taking a little bit of red and a little bit of black, blending between colors. For example, if I need to blend plus white or plus green into it, I will put green close to these two, and I will blend between 3 colors or 4 colors, depends how many I need for painting. Right now I like shape of petals on my rose. I think it's almost done, and we're starting the final big step for rose. This is a glazing. Important to dry rose before you will glaze with clear red. Here petals almost dried. I actually took 5 minutes break, and previous layers was really thin, so petals dried already, and we working with a clear red. Important to remember it. No any white right now in my mix. If you take a look on palette and you can see rose color there, it's only because layer on palette right now really thin. I'm making blending really thin color before I will put it on my rose, and consistency of color right now it's like a half dry. It's also need to remember, if you will put color on palette from your tube, it's a little bit of more wet than we need, but if we will blend color from the tube, just a clear color, we will spread it on palette, color will dry a little bit immediately, because surface area bigger and layer of a paint more thin. So consistency, we need to keep half dry, don't put extra water in it, and try to rub in just clear vermilion red in all your petals, especially on areas that looking pinkish, that containing lots of white in it. This layer really half transparent, very thin, so you can go also on top of some black areas, on top of shadows. I'd say no need to go on top of all shadows, but at least on some you can go. Just extremely important, don't put white right now. My brush strokes short, not big, because of consistency. Color not spreading really nice. I have to rub into a canvas this color. I have light from the left, so edges of these big petals I will leave with a tiny pink accents on edge. See, I left it without red on top, and even later, bit later, I will put more white highlights. But just, let's say, highlights need to be not too many. Let's say 5. Let's say 5 areas where we will add highlights with white later. Look, when we added glazing layer right now, rose became red colored. All pinkish accents just gone. So when we're moving this way, this method, we're working on a shape with black and white, and when shape we like, shape of petals, shape of flowers, we can glaze it with the final color. I will correct some of tiny petals in the center with white. Really want to create so sharp details there, sharpest I'd say, because I told you center of the flower always catchy for the view. Now I'm not going all over the petal, just a tiny bit. Rose already looking nice. Go only the very edge. Maybe here a bit as well. Now all my brush strokes so thin, I'm just touching edges of the petals, and I told you white accents possible to create just about 5 times, 4 or 5 times. If you will put these white highlights to the each petal, you will lose color and you will lose shape. Take a look on any shape. I mean, for example, on a ball. There you have highlight only on a lightest spot of the shape. Here the same. Here light direction from the left up. So only there, just a little bit, on the very pointy details on all the petals, we can add white, and that's it. Don't put too many. It will ruin the shape and the color, those vibrant red color of the rose that we want to create. I like rose, and now if you need to, you can take short break between the last step here. We have to correct green leaves. We already have a bit of green. We created those spots on underpainting layer, and now we have to transform spots into more visible leaves. What I'm basically doing, I'm planning leaves there where I have biggest green spots. Also, I have to cover white pores of a canvas. If I can see it still, I have it here on some areas. And now I mixed medium green and white, starting from the outside going inside. Type of the brush, it's a flat slanted. I already painted with this brush today. This brush have nice sharp edge, and I'm going from the outside inside. So the edge of the green leaf lighter and the color inside of the leaf darker. Also here I like to create two of those smallest green leaves that holding biggest petals of the rose. I have no idea how they call them on English. It's something botanical, I believe. Here I will also have one more green leaf. I'm just transforming green areas into a leaf. I'm giving them more sharp edges. But color I already created on underpainting layer. If your green spots was created on a different areas, not the same that mine, you can do the same, just give them more visible shape with the sharper edges. Don't forget, we have to cover white pores of canvas really well. Some of them I have still visible here. Also, same with that I did with petals. I choose the area for best detailing, and all other petals I left without high detailing. Same I will do with leaves. Some of leaves that close to us, that taking attention, I will give them more details, and all others I will leave just with a common shapes. Let's see. Here I think will be nice to create a leaf in a corner. I added more black, and this green area I will fix. I don't need leaf here, since I already have big leaves on the left and the right side from this dark area. Let me create middle vein of a green leaf. Let's go next one. I cover it green under the rose. Let's create edge of the future leaf here, and let's add shadow from the leaf here. And I like moments about coverage of underpainting level, not the same everywhere, because we was painting with the fingers. You can see lighter and darker areas of a green. It's giving more life to the green leaves. I'm fixing just a white pores right now. This is a black color, and I wanna create a black really deep. I don't enjoy white pores visible through the black. Also possible to correct line of the petals with a black. Be accurate with it right now. Don't go with the black too deep into the rose area. I added more water and creating shadows from the rose on green leaves. Okay, probably now I'm ready to create more details. Let's see. Let's fix some pores everywhere. And let's go the final layer. Actually, I'm not sure what edge will be better for leaves. Green leaves right now. Let's try the usual look. When edge have lots of pointy ends, the line of leaf looking as a zigzag. But again, I'm not sure right now if it's a good idea or not. Maybe it's over detailing green leaves and this edge will take too much attention. We will see. Let's also add the central vein. If I will not like it, it's always possible to fix. Okay, let me clean my brush, make it more dry and blend a bit. Still not sure, you know. Still not sure. Maybe I better prefer those look that have leaf on the left side of a composition. Now we add in just a highlight details. Don't put them too much again. And now I will try to create a line of the leaf with a less details. It's still a zigzag, but it's bigger. And probably I like it more, you know. Let me try on this leaf. Yeah, look, when we have less details, it's giving more air to the rose. Rose have to be the queen of this painting, and more frequent zigzag taking too much attention from the flower. So I like the style of green leaf I'm creating right now much more. First leaf I will fix a little bit later. Let's create another one. Right now I want to paint leaf that turn to us, just one side. Just enough. It's already looking as a leaf. And I will fix first leaf here. Cover it, the edge of the leaf with green color. And I have to wait a bit till acrylic here will get dry. Let's paint this one. Just a bit of, you know, I just wanna show for the viewer it's a leaf here, but I don't wanna create tiny details, so even not gonna switch to the smaller brush. And I will fix first leaf, less frequent edge, and we'll add more shadows. We'll cover this leaf. Yeah, right now, look, it's really sitting better into the composition. I like the idea to check from the distance how details looking. It's possible to fix straight on a moment when you understand it's going on the wrong direction. That's how I did right now. I created one style leaf and another style leaf. I checked from the 2 steps back which one is better, and in the end, when I decided which leaf sits better into a composition, I just fixed a little bit, I corrected a little bit the wrong leaf, and now I like it much more. So nothing wrong with experiments, even if you don't know what final result you're gonna get. We always can try something new and leave those that looking okay, and we can cover and fix those that not really looking good in our opinion, right? That's how my painting goings usually. Sometimes I just have a feeling like I want to create something beautiful, or I want to create something light, for example, light flower. I can even not imagine the exact kind of a flower yet, but in a process it's going more and more detailing, and that's how we can express our mood on a canvas. Well, my painting almost done. If you have any questions about process or color mixing that we had today here, you can ask me on the comments. Also, you can share to me your own roses on a Patreon wall, also through the Facebook group or Instagram. And don't forget about hashtag PaintyKat. This way, for me, will be possible to find your painting on Instagram. If you like to have a line sketch from this flower, I will also create it for you, and I will add it on a Patreon. It will be possible to print, sketch, and transfer those lines that you need. If you will go same process as I demonstrated on a tutorial, each rose from each painter will look different. If you will use outline sketch, you can get similar look to my rose. Shape of the petals will be same as mine. So welcome, nothing wrong with both ways. I like you to try them both with lines or without lines when we're going from the big details to smaller and smaller level of details. In the end, I will add my sign up. This is not a big size of painting, so my sign also small. It was a PaintyKat, my friends. I wish you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you on the next one. Wish you all the best. Bye bye.